It's White Manga here, manga artist and the creator of Apple Black, available everywhere. I'm here to share my simple steps on how I color anime characters using both Photoshop and Clip Studio Paint. Perfect. For this video, the illustration and the characters we're going to be using are actually the chapter cover for the last chapter in Apple Black Volume 3, which will also be available for pre-order a week, 2 weeks. I'm basically going to be sharing what I usually do to keep the images pretty saucy. Follow me on Twitch if you want to be seeing a lot of this stuff live. Step 1. First things first, later on in the video we'll go over what I did in the background to have it be what it is. But I've created a silhouette filled in white and then I have line art over it. So the layers are placed appropriately. I'm filling in with the tone layer, at least that's what I call it. Kind of like a color that's dark but also fits the background or the environment the characters are going to be placed in. I have it at a linear burn and then I reduce the opacity. Sometimes I have two of them, one with a gradient feel where it's much lighter based off of the light source. One side, in this case, will be at the top and then darker at the bottom. And then I have another tone layer again that's just completely flat, but doing its job and making the characters feel like they fit the environment. You can't really see it as much because I haven't done any painting to the environment just yet. And then I have another layer, same color, linear burn. Experiment with other blending modes. There are people that do it with multiply, but linear burn. And then I am essentially just shading the character. Again, there's several videos that I've posted on the channel that go into great detail about all of this if you are confused. And again, I also do it sometimes live on Twitch. If you guys want to hang out, you can go follow me on there. But I'm finding the areas that I want to fill in to show shading based off of the light source. Again, it's very key to know where your light source is coming from. And then after all of that, I'm even creating some shading to let me know how the shadow is going to be cast, say, on the floor. It also gives them a little bit more weight and allows them feel like they fit where they're being placed. Step 2 is putting in the flats. Now, to be fair, for step 1 or 2, it's interchangeable. You could have done this first. But again, I have it on a separate layer. You can have all the hues of one color on separate layers and then you have a bunch of flats on separate layers, or you could put all the flats on one layer. It's up to you as long as you are organized and know what you're doing with the layers. But now I'm just slapping in the flats. It's pretty straightforward. You find the color you need. It doesn't matter, again, even though we're touching on Clip Studio Paint and Photoshop in this video, a lot of the things I'm talking about apply to literally any art software you're using. As long as you have a decent understanding of layers, you understand one art software, you're gonna be pretty decent in any other one. In fact, the only issues you may run into would just be you would know what to do, but how to do it, you might need to adjust and figure out how to do it for this new software. So for instance, with Procreate, I'm still learning some of the kinks. I just don't have the time to really grasp it. But once I do, you can expect I'll be posting more videos on that or going through all the hard stuff and then making it easier for you with these videos. So if you're enjoying them, don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all the fun engagement stuff that helps the channel and the video and all of that a great deal. Step 3, this is the lighting sauce. Again, it's a new layer where you have some of the highs. You play around with the blending mode. Sometimes I use a color dodge if it fits. It depends on what kind of light. I might use an add or add glow. It also depends on what software you're using and what blending modes are available. I pick a color close to the color of the light source, reduce the opacity appropriately. The higher the opacity, the more intense it's going to feel. And then once you have the right blending mode, you're just adding these little dashes in the hair and parts that you want to shine and all of that. See part of the glasses there. I'm doing some fun stuff. Might even use the airbrush to erase some parts of it to give it a gradient feel. But that's all we're doing here. And then here with the backgrounds, I have a marble floor texture behind everything on a separate layer, and that's to overlay. I had some patterns already created, and then I also transformed that as well to fit, to make it feel like it's really on the floor right there, getting the right angles, moving things around to have everything just fit. And then I'm adding in colors to give the floor an actual color, because if you just have the texture and overlay, depending on what you have behind it, you might not actually see it until it's interacting with other layers. And I'll talk a little bit more about this at the end of the video, where you'll be able to see the layers, what goes where, some of the blending modes, and just to see how I got the floor to look how it looks, because there's a lot of shading going on there with linear burn as well to fit the environment. But this is background stuff. But after that is more of like extras. Sometimes I have a layer above everything. It's like eye shine that's completely white, just to give the eyes a little dash in them, to have reflections shown on the eyes. It just gives the characters a little bit more life. And then also in other parts that should be shiny, say on this belt, which is like a this gem, and if you read the chapter, you kind of see what he's able to do with that. It's pretty much his wand. If you guys read my series, you know what a wand is. But really, I'm just adding some touches here and there to really have the illustration pop. You can consider this a step or not, but if you have more time, say for your illustration, you can always add to it, you know, especially if it's not an animation, it's a still illustration, you can always keep adding to it to have it be extra saucy. That is the goal, guys. Sauce, not sauce, sauce. Speaking of sauce, step 5, dynamic lighting. And we've kind of been doing that a little bit to a degree, but here is just, again, with extra oomph, extra sauce. And so in this step for the dynamic lighting, I carry over the file after saving it in Clip Studio Paint as a Photoshop file so I can open it in Photoshop, because I like to do all the dynamic stuff in Photoshop. Let's say the light hitting the floor, because of the color of the floor to a degree, it's kind of going to reflect back on, say, his pants here. You can have that on a separate layer, reduce the opacity where you see fit, and maybe the blending mode hard light, soft light, it depends on you. It depends on how intense it is. You can have the opposite happening at the top where it's much warmer at the top. At the bottom was cooler because it's like a blue, even though the warm light is hitting that floor, reflecting back might be blue, but at the top, it's a warm light, so you want to change the color, but maybe you even want it on a separate layer. It's up to you. Using one of the textured brushes to give her hair a little pop. Forgot to do that. I think one of the best ways to learn how to color, if you're like relying on online resources, one of the best ways is actually to get down and dirty. Experiment. See what happens when you try something completely different. I think it'll help open your mind and have you understand what's really going on versus just watching and trying to remember. You're not going to learn to draw or do any of this stuff if you're just watching. Then here I have another layer to add to this dynamic lighting, because the idea here is the light source hitting them at the top is so intense and the room is so dark that the opacity there is really, really high. And it's a warm color, close to white, but not exactly. Still kind of yellowish, orangish, bright, but low opacity, almost forming above the line art layer in some cases. And then you can see it mostly in the parts where light would hit the hardest, which is closer to the top. And I'm just laying all of that down. After that, I might do another layer where I take one of the brushes, maybe the droplet from Clip Studio Paint, to give some of the light source, you know, these tiny particles you see almost like from sunlight to a degree, just playing around with that. Again, it's all sauce, it's all experimentation to get the desired result. Step 6, the filters and effects, which is also best done in Photoshop as well. Very intense light hitting at the top. I usually give that an outer glow. You double click the layer in Photoshop and it will give you all these effect options that you can play around with. And I think I'll give an outer glow to the particles a little bit and like that intense light at the top. You can play around with the effects for a bunch of stuff, but how to get the effects is that. For filters here, I like to double click on the layer. I like to duplicate all the layers and then merge them, drag it to the top. One of the filter things you can do once you're on that flat merged layer, you can even duplicate it again so you have a copy, is to hit channels, hit one of the colors, I pick green, and then where the eye is to show if it's visible, you toggle on the RGB. Then you select the whole canvas, Control T or Command T, and then just shift it. And it'll give you this 3D chromatic aberration effect. You don't want to always overdo this, but it's one of those cool effects that is a nice know-how to do. I'm not necessarily going to use this in this illustration, but it's fun to show you guys, right? You can move it around and it's just going to give that 3D glitch effect or an old school VHS. There's more you can do even with like noise to get more of that, but the one I do the most of and the one we're going to be using here is the simple anime one where you select all the layers, you duplicate it, pull it to the top, give it a Gaussian blur, reduce the opacity to about 30 or 40, and then make sure that blending mode is on lighten. The higher the opacity of that layer, the more everything is just going to look like a flashback in an anime scene. So you just want to keep it at maybe 30% opacity, and this is usually referred to as diffusion. Once you play around with appropriate effects and you have the illustration where you want, and then you've added the filters that you want, whether it be the noise or the chromatic aberration or diffusion, whatever, or a combination of all three in some kind of way, then you're pretty much done. Unless you have other fun stuff you want to experiment with. So let's explore the files a little further. Let's take a little deep dive into the Clip Studio Paint and Photoshop files here I have all the layers turned off, and the only one turned on right now is the texture for like that cement, marbly type floor. And then I've kind of transformed it to fit the angle that the characters are standing. And then I make sure the blending mode of that layer is overlay. I wanted a pattern for the floor, so I created one, almost like it was 2D flat at us. But then again, I take a portion, transform it, move it around to fit how I want. Again, playing around with the blending modes so everything works as is. I then have some lines, almost like this very stylistic tiles for the floor. Use the airbrush a bit with some colors. You can see me turning on all the layers. Some of the coloring there is actually in that shade approach, where it's a dark blue to fit the environment based off of the environment. You know, maybe it's nighttime, so it's kind of dark blue, but then there's a light source that's really popping in the center. So it's the airbrush shading and linear burn blending mode for that layer. Most of these blending modes are available in most art software, even Procreate, Paint Tool Sai, it doesn't matter. Most of them are gonna have some kind of blending mode feature, and it'll have a lot of options. Then I have a silhouette for where the characters are going to be placed. You see the line art, and now I'm just plugging away, toggling on all the layers to see how everything works. Even the shading, I shade the floor for how they're going to kind of cast the shadow based off of the light source. More tone layers, you know, having that gradient feel. Just a little bit to show that it's getting darker from top to bottom. Lighter at the top, darker at the bottom. Literally the same color, linear burn, new layer, but it's just having a gradient getting darker at the bottom. See that layer for the light at the top to really show that light source coming from the top. And then I have another layer to almost show these tiny particles that you would see with light sources sometimes. And I try to replicate that as best as I could on a separate layer over here. Now I want to add some effects and certain filter things that I feel are more appropriate and easier to do in Photoshop. And so you can actually save files as PSDs in Clip Studio Paint. So basically as Photoshop files, and then just open them in Photoshop and then continue working. Not sure if it works vice versa. So now in Photoshop, I'm going to certain layers where I had certain highlights at the top. I did them on separate layers. The easier it becomes for you to kind of manipulate, add effects, move things around. If you label it properly, you're extra organized. So here it's hard to see. You see that hard light from the light source at the top hitting the characters from above. You double click that layer and you can turn on the outer glow, play around with the effects to get the desired result. Again, it just keeps things a little bit saucy, and these are hard to do in Clip Studio Paint. Much easier to do in Photoshop. Not impossible to do in Clip Studio Paint, but just easier to do in Photoshop. It saves me a lot of time and it's much easier to edit. I kind of give that same outer glow treatment to some of the particles from the light source at the top. And then above everything, I use the adjustment layers for curves. And that just makes everything pop a little bit. Right now, everything is very light. Some of the darks are darker and so on. There's another adjustment layer I use a lot called selective color. I recommend you guys play with that as well. Right there at the top, you can change the color. Right now it's on black, and that just means you can edit everything black-ish on the canvas by just moving the CMYK. So for a lot of the hands-on stuff, I use Clip Studio Paint, and then for the saucy stuff, I use Photoshop. For the 2.5 people that made it to the end of this video, I thank you. Leave comments if you have any questions or video requests. Don't forget to like and Holy Ghost smash that subscribe button so you stay notified each time I upload absolutely anything. Turn on all notifications. If you watch the videos a lot but you don't subscribe, why? We got beef? It costs $0. Please subscribe. All the engagement stuff, comments, likes, it helps out the channel and the video a great deal. Shout out to everybody who's also gotten any of our books, whether it be Apple Black or any of the other stellar Saturday AM books that are part of the book line. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Books A Million, Waterstone, W.H. Smith, Right Stuff, the list goes on. And you guys usually share when you get it. I try to share it back to show my appreciation on behalf of the team for all your support. Even people talking about getting the last copies in Walmart. You the MVP, you the real MVP. Yeah. Check out more videos. Swipe Manga. And I'm Ali 9000.